Discovering Chinese dramas in 2018 opened up a whole new world of Asian dramas to me, and I've been hooked ever since. 4 years later, Tea and Soju was born, so that I can extend my love of Chinese dramas and Asian dramas in general to others out there and find a community. So, sit back and let's chat Asian dramas.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tea and Soju C-Drama podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and in this week's episode, we are going back into the genre series. And not only that, but we're going back into probably what is my most watched genre, and that is the romance/rom-com, genre. Now, I always find it really difficult to sort of distinguish between romance, just pure romance, and rom-com. I'm guessing like the rom-com is the more silly kind of romance shows. But, so I kind of like almost throw them all in together. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to put a question up on Spotify today and see like how you guys kind of define, romance, just pure straight up romance, and as opposed to, rom-com. So I'll do that. So if you're listening on Spotify, go over and check that out. And just before we get into the episode, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you like the podcast, please remember to, subscribe, rate, share, all of those things. That really, really helps other people to find the podcast. So I'm always eternally grateful for that. But if you would like to even support the podcast further, then Patreon is also an option. And I would like to give a shout out to my current patrons. Anecdotes, Grace, Nancy, Anonymous, Cheryl, Lorna, Caitlin, Souza, Marta, Purple Dinosaurus, and R. You guys, honestly, thank you so much for supporting me on there, and look forward to a new episode on the story of Kuning Palace. I'm going to do a first to middle impressions, so by the time you listen to this, that will probably already be out over on Patreon, because I was away for a little bit, so I haven't posted, but it's almost ready for me to put up, so I will do that. And just all the normals. If you'd like to come and chat to me, there is a Discord, there is Instagram. I completely forgot. This is what happens, guys. I've been away for like 10 days. I went back home and, saw my family, kind of celebrated. We have this holiday over there, and it's called São Martinho, and it's basically like all about, it's a saint holiday, and basically we celebrate it with like roasted chestnuts, but not just any kind of like roasted chestnuts. They are meant to be roasted like in this metal funnel thing, and you do it over an open fire. They are so damn good. Like I live for those chestnuts, and it's like, to me, that's the smell of winter. It's like roasting chestnuts. So yeah, that's like, my brain is still very frazzled. I only came back yesterday, so like I am still all over the place, but we're going to try that again. If you'd like to come and talk to me on any of the socials, there is, Instagram, there's TikTok. I actually just hit like a new, platform on TikTok with followers, so I was super excited because I just kind of like post random stuff on TikTok. But anyways, there's all of those, Discord, all of those, that's always linked in the description notes, so go check that out. And if there's any shows you're watching and you want to talk about them, let me know. I'm actually doing like a little bit of catch up on like K-dramas, because the drama trio is going to be doing something a little bit special for the yearly wrap up, to do with like Asian dramas in general, because you guys know I do the best of the best Chinese dramas at the end of the year, and I kind of do that one solo. I have a lot to talk about, but I really wanted to do something with the drama trio with Jess and Caitlin, so I am trying to I realized, how bad is this? I actually realized I only watched about 8 K-dramas the whole year, like fully watched 8 Korean dramas, and I was like, How is that possible that I've only watched 8 Korean dramas? And, I don't even know how many Chinese dramas I've watched. But I feel like combined, like my J dramas and Thai dramas, I've watched more of those than I have Korean dramas. And that's just like bonkers to me because I used to watch so much Korean content. So, yeah, now I like posted a story over on Instagram and kind of asked what are like your top Korean dramas for this year that I really should be checking out. So I'm like checking out a few, see if they're for me. And if not, then I'm like letting them go and dropping them. But yeah, I'm going in. So I've been trying to do that. But yeah, that's been fun. And look, we've already gone off track. I don't know what it is about me and like keeping episodes on track, but hopefully it feels like I'm just having a conversation with you guys because otherwise, it is what it is. I've long come to realize that this is just like a format for me now. So yeah, let's get into today's episode. As like I said, it is a romance rom-com episode, and I tried to pick like dramas that aren't as well known. So some of these are quite a bit older, just because I thought if I was just going to talk about the dramas that I already watched that are quite recent and they're quite big, then they will probably be quite well known throughout the, drama watching community. So I thought I would try to pick some dramas that are slightly lesser known. I'm not saying they're not completely unknown, but they're just lesser known dramas. So yeah, the first one on my list is a drama called I Hear You, and not to be confused with the Korean drama that goes by a very similar name, but this one is a Chinese drama. And it stars Wang Yi-loon. He is also known as Riley Wang, and it also stars as it also stars Zhao Lushi. Now, I roughly talked about this one in a drama in my last week's episode? Yeah, last week's episode in the Zhao Lushi special. And this is one that I kind of watched on the fly. I didn't really have any expectations going in because I hadn't really known. And actually, I think this was my first Riley Wang drama. So the description reads as such: Bai Erdo has always dreamt of studying in Japan to become a voice dub actor. To save up money for her trip, Erdo decides to help out her friend Tang Li, who is a producer of a reality dating show. There she meets Yi Shu Wei, a genius violin player and composer who comes from a wealthy background. Yi Shu Wei was forced to join the program after losing a bet with his nephew Yu Shang. Actually, the reason attracted Yu Shuwei to participate in the show is not his bet with Yu Shang. Instead, he seeks to identify the person who correctly answered his question. Bai Erdo and Yu Shuwei began their cohabitation life together for the program, and the bickering couple slowly falls in love. So basically, they kind of have to participate in this dating show. They're kind of like forced into it for various reasons. And this leads to them having to cohabitate, which, you guys, if you know, like, cohabitation is one of my favorite tropes. I just find like, yes, it is as tropey as it can be, and yes, it's pretty well used before, but it's just a trope that I absolutely adore. So that's like the plot for this, and this was directed by Shu Kan-shan, and the screenwriter was Shi Xiao-za. So it is 24 episodes of about 40 minutes each, and you can watch it either on Netflix or Yoku. Now, Netflix, it may be not on certain regions, but it is on Yoku, so you have those two options to watch it. I remember having a lot of fun watching this one. I think, I watched it quite a while ago. I want to say, was it 2019 that I probably watched it? Yeah, I think it was 2019, 2020. And, it is just a very fun rom-com. There's a lot of shenanigans happening because they're cohabitating and they clash very easily. But yeah, I quite like that our female lead is quite smart. And the reason why she's doing it is because she kind of like wants to, reach her goals in terms of earning money to go and be a voice actor. I also really enjoy, it's one of those things like not a lot of dramas will talk about, or, there's not a lot of dramas that are specifically about voice actors or voice dubbers. And I always find it fascinating when there is, because it kind of like gives us as the viewer a little bit of a glimpse behind the curtain, of what happens in a lot of shows. Not nowadays. Nowadays, a lot of modern shows are actually dubbed by the actresses and actors themselves, but historicals are still very much dubbed by, voice actors. And I always find it fascinating. I think it takes a certain type of person to be a voice actor or a dubber or whatever, because they have to immerse themselves in that person and that character, like just in, a little cubicle. And I find that fascinating because they don't have the props or, the set or the even like the on-screen person, the person you're co-starring against. They have none of that. And they still have to bring forth like emotion and all of those things throughout their voice. So those people truly are, fascinating. And I feel like there's really, really good voice actors out there. So yeah, I really liked that aspect of this show. I think it did it pretty well. Now, I actually don't remember a lot about it. Like I said, I watched it like 3 years ago, and I don't quite remember a lot, but I remember really enjoying it. So that I thought I would throw that in, and that is I Hear You. The next one is a rom-com to a T, because it is hilarious from start to finish. And that is the drama Accidentally in Love. This is, again, another Chinese drama, and the description reads, Chen Ching Ching, the heiress of a rich family, desperately wants to avoid an arranged marriage and find love on her own terms. On her wedding day, she flees town and heads out to enroll in the same college where her parents studied, hoping to find out more about their deaths. In an effort to hide her true identity, she changes her appearance and begins to blend in with her classmates. Her school desk mate turns out to be the famous singer Si Tu Feng, with whom she's already had multiple runs-ins. They start off on the wrong foot, quarreling constantly and causing each other grief, but could there be more between them? Thus starts Ching Ching's quest for answers about her parents' death and a chance at real love. Now, this was directed by Zong Ching, who's done things such as My Girl, Please Feel at Ease, Mr. Ling. Please Feel at Ease, Mr. Ling is another really fun, rom-com. So yeah, he did this one before that. And then the screenwriter, there's actually a couple of screenwriters for this. Zong Ching, Zhang Meng Lin, Fu Shu Wen, Zong Wen Xuan, Tan Zi Hao, Ren Xin Hao. So that's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screenwriters. That's a lot of screenwriters for a modern rom-com. So I find that quite interesting. So, the cast for this is Gu Jun Chen as Si Tu Feng, Sun Yi Ning as Chen Xing Cheng, Ching Chen, Shen Yu Yu. Basically, she has a couple of names. So, yeah, this is 30 episodes of about 30 minutes each. It's really, really short in terms of, episode, length, because 30 minutes, if you take out the beginning and the ending credits, it's fairly short for an episode, and you can watch this one on Netflix. I believe this one is exclusively on Netflix. I remember just kind of clicking into this out of nowhere, and I had the best time watching it. I binged it from start to finish. It is hilarious. I remember laughing so much because there's so many shenanigans between our main couple, and also, right guys, so you walk in and she's like this rich heiress, and she's got really long brown hair and, no glasses. Her face is magnificent, that sort of thing. What you were expecting of a rich heiress, right? And then she runs away because she doesn't want to get married. So she runs off to be this college. And what do? They put this ugly like wig on her, and it's hilarious. So all she has as a disguise is a wig and some thick glasses, and like her whole style kind of changes. And I was like, how do people do not realize that it's the same person is beyond me, absolutely beyond me. And there's certain scenes where she kind of has to be in two places at the same time. Those scenes are peak comedy because she's running like from one area to the next and having to change her whole personality and who she is. Really, really funny. The male lead is your very typical cold male lead on the outside, but like fluffy marshmallow on the inside. That kind of male lead. He's got some problems to deal with because he's a very famous pop star, and that is what it is. That comes with a whole baggage as well. So I just remember having the best time watching this. Like I said, I binged it in probably a couple of days because it's really not that long. And yeah, I had a lot of fun. It's one of those rom-coms that you just kind of like switch your brain off and watch it. And that, to me, that's why I really enjoy rom-coms, because yes, they're silly but you just have a lot of fun with them. That is what it is. A rom-com to me is just something that I'm gonna ignore all and plot holes or whatever, because there's barely any plot to it along the way. But yeah, like the first kind of 20 episodes, everything's a lot easy watch. It does get a little bit harder in terms, not like hard watch, but they do turn a little bit more serious to deal with like her parents' death and why it happened and all of that scenario. But even then, I thought it was done pretty well. I still remember there's one specific scene where he's on stage and I think it's like a wedding or some sort. No, it's something for his dad's company, which he really does not get. Like, our male lead does not get on with his dad at all. So they're at a function and she happens to be there, and she's just like in this frowny outfit because, again, she's pretending to not be the rich heiress, and if she gets all dolled up, they're gonna realize who she is. So she's just there, right? And I think his dad's trying to get him to marry or get him interested, and he just wants to rebel so much that he brings her on stage and he's like, yeah, this is my girlfriend. And everybody's shocked, and it's honestly hilarious, absolutely hilarious. So again, I don't remember when I watched this. It must have been a couple of years ago, but I still remember some of the scenes specifically. So I must have had a lot of fun watching it. So that is the Chinese drama Accidentally in Love. Then next up is another trope-filled romance. Again, I think it's more of a rom-com. I think most of these that I've talked about are straight up rom-coms. But yeah, again, on MDL, sometimes they just got the tag of romance, and sometimes, romance comedy separated. So I don't know. But this one is called Intense Love. It stars Zhang Yu-shi as Su Jinbei and Ding Yu-shi as Zhou Shiwen. Now, this is, the MDL description reads, it tells a love story between a genius doctor and an actress who are two people who both refuse to have their marriage arranged by their parents, yet realize that love is destined. Actress Su Jinbei has a beauty that can defy the heavens. With her popularity on the rise, she is used to being the center of attention. However, the dark side to fame means that she's a magnet for controversy. She may be the best at flirting, but she doesn't get any further and has been single since birth. Zhou Shi-woon is a genius doctor with looks, money, and smarts. He is a perfectionist who likes to be in control but doesn't care much for many things, as he can be quite indifferent. Women flock around him in droves, and he doesn't bat an eye. Instead of the usual overbearing CEO that falls for the woman, it's the actress who takes initiative in love. So this one is definitely basically the two families are friends and they're born around at the same time and they arrange their marriage to each other. And, the two families since birth, they've been engaged like since birth, which is ridiculous in this day and age, but whatever, we move. And basically, both of them don't want that. And they actually meet before they know that they're engaged to each other, which I find hilarious. Because she's at a hospital and something happens to her and he's the attending physician who kind of like attends to her. So that's how they meet. And, they clash pretty much straight away. But she thinks he's ridiculously, good looking, so she kind of like flirts a little bit with him, but he's just like not giving her the time of day. And basically that's like her persona to the public. She's seen as this very flirty actress and nobody really pays attention to like her acting or anything behind it. And I do actually like that this drama goes a little bit into the behind of what's happening in in the industry, as in I think they mention stalkers and that sort of thing. It does actually look into that aspect of being a famous actress. And so I did enjoy that. I really enjoyed their relationship because they're bickering. They constantly bicker. And they go from like bickering to then kind of being friends to then being, in love. And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was done really, really well. This is another classic. I feel like rom-com male leads are just this from the beginning, where male leads are like these portrayed cold male leads on the outside, but fluffy marshmallows on the inside. This again is very much that. So yeah, this drama is 24 episodes of 40 minutes, and it's so another short one, and it is available in a bunch of places. It's on Prime Video, it's on Viki, it's on WeTV, and it's on the one that we never mention, but we do, and that's Mango TV. And the reason we don't mention it is because it's horrible subs. So yeah, that's the places you can watch it at. Again, I had a lot of fun because this one is very much she falls first, but he falls harder. And she is very much the one actively chasing him. So yeah, I find that it was quite interesting that a lot of the time she doesn't even try to do controversy or anything like that, but it just finds her constantly. She could be like being nice to someone and people will go on the tabloids and like turn it against her. It's ridiculous. But I also quite found it interesting that they went into that, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the Chinese drama Intense Love. Next up, we have one that isn't often like talked about at all, and I think it's one that I really enjoyed it. And that's the Chinese drama Love Crossed. So this one is available on a couple of places as well: YouTube, Tencent, WeTV, Viki, and iQIYI. So it's like available in a bunch of places. And this one stars He Lu as Lu Xiao. It stars the man of the hour, Zhang Linghe as Xu Nian. It stars Dai Luwa as Zhang Ke, and Fan Shuaiqi as Guan Qian. Yeah. Now, this is one of those dramas where there is no romance triangle at all. There is two distinct love lines. There is the main couple and there is the secondary couple, and they both have their own separate love story, which to me just works better. Like, I really love when a rom-com drama or a romance drama has two individual love stories, just because I feel like you can get a lot out of that. And I am not a fan in general of love triangles. I think sometimes they get dragged on too long, and they just really aren't for me a lot of the time, unless they're done really well. So, and by really well is, do you know when a romance, drama does a triangle and they do it in a way that you almost don't know who the female lead is going to end up with, or the male lead, might be two women, two men, whatever. But when that happens, it's probably the only time I can get away with a triangle. But then I always feel sorry for the second lead. So I just prefer having like a main couple and then having a secondary couple. I feel like that works really well for me. So going back to this one. This one is kind of like a fusion drama because I'll read you the MDL description. So, Jiang Ke is having a terrible day. It's New Year's Eve, but her father, who is away on business calls, had to say he won't be back for another 2 to 3 months. Then her impatient boss fires her for being 5 minutes late for work. And finally, her boyfriend, who she has just bought an expensive computer for, cruelly dumps her. Despondent, she can't help thinking about a chance encounter she had before all the troubles started, when a salesman showed her a pair of VR glasses that allow their wearers to enter an incredible IT-powered world. That world is populated by the Love Boys, a group of 4 seemingly perfect men, only visible to those people wearing the glasses. She receives a pair of Love Boys glasses as an unexpected gift and tries them on. In the world she is transported to, she meets the dreamy Lu Xiao, who takes her on a tour of a dream world where everything is perfect. She is enamored by this VR world and starts to spend more and more time in it. But while she is doing so, she begins to understand that the company that operates the Love Boys game is keeping a dark secret related to Lu Xiao and his group mates. Can she get to the bottom of this mystery and bring her affections for Lu Xiao into the real world? Now, like I said, this was a really fascinating kind of setup for a romance drama. I feel like this one is probably heavier like romance as opposed to rom-com because I don't think it's as silly a lot of the time. Yes, there's still those, little bits of silliness here and there, but they really do dig into the, why. There is a whole story behind the Love Boys, and I really like that this drama kind of picks at what we envision as perfect and how that's just not achievable because we are all human. And I really, really like that differentiation and how they kind of like go about showing that in the drama. So I really, really liked it. Again, I love the fact that there's 2 distinct couples. There is a first couple and a second couple, and their stories are very, very different. There's a lot to this drama, and I don't think I can talk about a lot of it because if I do, I'm going to give away the spoilers, and I don't want to do that. But just before, you kind of think, maybe you heard that description and you think, oh, they're holograms or there are, robots. There's nothing like that at all. It's very real people. So keep that in mind because I know sometimes like there is those, robot kind of love stories and those can be a little bit bonkers. Was it called my robot boyfriend? I can't remember what it was, but there was one where she actually did fall in love with a robot and it was an actual robot, not a human being, and those never end well. But that's not the case here. Again, I really, really enjoyed this one. I feel like there is a lot of story behind it, and I just feel like it was very different to anything that I kind of had watched in the genre at the time. So the director for this one is Yu Zongzong and Wu Jianxin. There's 2 directors. And then the screenwriter is Li Tian and Wu Zongchuan. So that's that. It is 31 episodes and again, available in a bunch of places. YouTube, Tencent, WeTV, Viki, and iQIYI. So it is widely available. It is one of those that I watched pretty much in a couple of days. I binged it fairly quickly. And there's bits that are quite heavy to watch, so keep that in mind going in. I feel like out of the, everything that I mentioned in this episode, this one's probably the kind of like heavier one, but it's not like so heavy that you can't escape into it and still have fun. Not at all. They just handle some things that are heavier in topic and, they give it the chance to be that they need to be. So I really enjoyed it. And again, I feel really bad because I want to talk about it a little bit more, but I can't without spoiling the big secrets behind it. And I don't want to do that. I want to give you guys like a little bit of a taster so that you can decide for yourselves if it's something that you would like to check out. I just feel like this one is one of those that isn't talked about very much, and I really did enjoy it. But again, it's not one that I even know a lot of people that have watched it at all. So if you have, come and drop me a message because I would love to, talk about it. When I watched this, it was pretty early on and I hadn't really found much of a community to talk dramas with. So I didn't talk about it to pretty much anyone. And when I thought about doing a romance/rom-com episode, I knew straight away that this was one of those that I really wanted to mention to see if more people out there would check it out. So that is the Chinese drama Love Crossed. Again, highly recommend this one. And then we have one that is I feel like I put this one down, but I feel like this one is fairly well known. And I tell you why. It is fairly well known because it is constantly all over TikTok because it has one of the most adorable kids in this drama. And they do like a daddy kid, clothes and everything. And so I feel like this one is fairly known. So I put it in here, but I want to caveat with a couple of things before anybody kind of watches this one, if you haven't already, but I feel like this one is a more popular one, and that is the Chinese drama Unforgettable Love. It stars Wei Ziming as He Qiaoyan. It stars Hu Yixuan as Qin Yu Yu, and it stars Sun Shi Chang as He Wei Fei. Now, this kid, guys, is so stinking adorable. He has like these little curls and honestly, he's so adorable. Every time he was on screen, I feel like he was stealing the scene just because I was queuing all, over him. So that is the actor Sun Si Chung. And I feel like he's been in a couple of different things. And I feel like if he chooses to, continue in the acting industry, I feel like he could probably have a long life career out of it. Like we've seen actors like Wu Lei do. They started off as child actors and they kind of grew into a full-blown career later on in their lives. So I feel like it could do this for him as well. But the MDL description for this is the drama revolves around He Qiaoyan, CEO of Hershey Group, and Qin Yi Yu, a child psychologist. It tells the story of a rational and indifferent man and a soft, optimistic, considerate, and meticulous psychologist whose relationship develops from acquaintance to love. So I don't feel like that's like enough of a description. Basically what happens is, so our male lead, played by Wei Ziming, who I adore Wei Ziming. Like, I feel like he needs more male lead roles because he's really good and I just feel like he's an underrated actor in general. So the male lead is played by Wei Ziming and he is the CEO, but basically the little kid isn't his kid, and that's not a spoiler. It is very much embedded in the story. That's his uncle, and his parents died when he was pretty young, and he's been taking care of him for quite a while. So basically that's the story, and how they meet is the kid kind of goes to this play group, or he goes to a doctor, whatever it is, and he gets lost, and for some reason he sees our female lead and he immediately starts calling her mum, and there is a whole story of why he does that. So yeah, that's how like the male lead and the female lead kind of meet, because the male lead then realizes that, the kid has had some problems speaking, communicating. He doesn't really talk at all. He talks like through a tablet and he writes on it and he kind of like shows people what he wants, that sort of thing. And there is a reason why he doesn't talk at all. And that kind of like gets explored throughout the drama. Now, I will say, this psychology aspect of it, I wish they had given our female lead a different, a different career, because she toes the line, and I feel like the relationship that they have is really not great for a psychologist to have. Like, the whole psychology aspect of it is just bonkers in this drama. It's not really, I hope that's not how they deal with it. How psychologists deal with kids and stuff like that, because yes, she's very, very nice and she helps him a lot and whatnot, but she goes above and beyond, and I feel like they cross that patient doctor line very quickly. So yeah, I feel like it is definitely not accurate to the profession itself at all. So if that's a trigger for you, and if it's something you don't enjoy, then give this drama a skip, because it's probably going to annoy you to no end, and it's probably not for you. Now, if you don't mind that aspect of it, then I would say give it a try. Again, this kid is really, really cute. I really liked it. It is only 24 episodes of about 40 minutes, so it's really not that long in the grand scheme of things. 24 episodes, when I say it's not that long and it's 24 episodes, I would say, so basically, if you put 2 episodes together, 24 episodes, right? But how I look at it, so Korean drama typically sits at 1 hour, 1 hour 10 for an episode. And this one, if you put them together for, an episode, 2 episodes of a Chinese drama almost equals 1 episode of a Korean drama, if that makes sense. So, you're almost like watching a 12 episode Korean drama. So when you put it like that, then you think, oh, it's not that long. Because it's 40 minutes, but you take out the starting credits and beginning credits. The beginning credits and the ending credits, it will probably put you about 35 minutes or even less. So that's what I mean by that. So when I say it's not that long and I'm saying it's 24 episodes, that's what I mean. It's because it's like you're almost watching a 12 episode Korean drama. So it's not that long, guys. So yeah, that's the drama Unforgettable Love. And like I said, my caveat would be there, watch out, because the psychology in it is really not that great at all. But the chemistry between the male lead and the female lead, great. The kid is stinking adorable. Like, I honestly was just, when he was on screen, I was like, this is great. And like I said, they do a couple of scenes where they put Wei Ziming and the little boy, Sun Si Chung, in like the same outfits. And I'm like, this is so adorable. This is great. So yeah, the whole story kind of develops nicely. There is like a whole arching story background behind it that I was like, oh, this is dragged on a little bit and I don't really enjoy it that much. But overall, it's still like a pretty good drama. Like I said, I don't think this is as unknown as some of the others that I've mentioned, mainly because there's always scenes of it, on TikTok. I always come across scenes on it over there. But again, I just wanted to mention it. Now, the next one that I have on my list is a drama that I'm not sure if it's that well known or not. And when I say by not well known, I just feel like I haven't come across much talk about it. That's why I chose some of these dramas, is that it's dramas that, I haven't seen much talk about them. So that's why I kind of added them in. I feel like I could almost do a part 2 for this genre. So if that's something you guys would like to listen to, let me know. I'm actually going to do a poll on, Spotify, and have that as the poll for this week is, would you like a second episode into this? And if so, what would you like me to focus on? Like the romance or the rom-com, like sadder romances? And actually, I feel like if I were to do a second part, I would probably not go into Chinese dramas, but go into like Korean dramas and J-dramas and that sort of thing. So venture out into the rest of the Asian countries as opposed to staying in China. Because for this one, I only did purely Chinese dramas, because again, I have a lot more of those to choose from. But also I feel like this is their bread and butter. They have so much romance and rom-com and like tropey dramas. So yeah, that's the ones I kind of like went into. But if you would like a second episode, let me know in the poll and I will leave that. If I don't, if it's not on the episode, guys, come and scream at me on my Instagram notes, or not my Instagram notes, my Instagram DMs or something, and be like, you didn't put the poll up. But I will try to remember to do do that. But back to the matter at hand, as so to speak. So this drama is called Begin Again, and this one stars Zhu Yutong as Lu Fanning and Gong Jun as Ling Rui. Now, this drama, I love Zhu Yutong. You may know her from the recently aired oh my god, no, I've remembered. I was like, what is the name of it? Completely blanked for a second, but it's the Nothing But You drama starring Zhu Yutong and Wu Lei. It came out earlier this year, and it's kind of like a Nuna romance. That's the same actress as this drama. And we have Gong Jun. He has been in a bunch of things. I mean, you've seen him in Word of Honor. You've seen him in The Legend of Anle. Like, he's been in quite a few things. I really like Zhu Yutong as an actress. I feel like she doesn't get talked about enough. Her dramas tend to be quite varied. And the reason why I want to mention this drama specifically in the romance rom-com episode, it's because it's kind of like a role reversal in the sense that the CEO is our female lead, Lu Fanning, so played by Zhu Yutong. She is the CEO, but she's kind of like the cool, cold CEO on the outside and marshmallow on the inside, which tends to be played by the male leads. But in this drama, it's reversed. And like our male lead, Gong Jun, who plays Ling Rui, he is actually like the kind of like marshmallowy character of sorts, sunshine character. So I really enjoyed that role reversal. It's not done very often, but when it does happen, I have a lot of fun watching it. And the description for this one is, it tells the story of a domineering female CEO and a warm doctor who turn a fake relationship into reality due to practical reasons. Having exchanged their I do's, they start on a new chapter of their lives as they learn to fall in love. Lu Fangning is the general manager of Lu Ning Group, a large corporation in the business of home furniture. Lu Fangning is a woman who has it all: talented, beautiful, and rich. Nearing her 30s, Lu Fangning succumbs to the family pressures and decides that she urgently needs a husband with whom she will have a child. Coincidentally, surgeon Ling Rui appears in front of her. Ling Rui is not only blessed with good looks, but also has an angelic heart, which makes him the perfect candidate in the eyes of Lu Fangning. She schemes her way into his life, and they finally become husband and wife. Lu Fangning eventually realizes the error in her ways and strives to be better. However, keeping a marriage is not as easy as it seems. So that pretty much tells you the whole story. Yes, she does do some very questionable things to get him to like marry him. But again, I really enjoyed watching like the female lead being kind of like the, the domineering CEO as opposed to the male lead. They did such a good job with role reversing this drama that I just feel like it works so well. She does do some very questionable things and she does pay the price for them. So there we go. We start off very much with she's doing her job really well. She's really good at her job. But her whole family and like the board of CEOs are saying you either marry and, have a child so you can, carry on the legacy or whatever it is, or we won't put you onto the next platform of running the whole company. So they are questioning, and isn't this like the most typical thing, is that they want women to be homemakers and whatnot. It's such a patriarchal thing, an old thing, and they really go into it in this drama. And she gets to the point where I don't need a husband to prove to you my worth and to prove that I can run this company. I've been doing it and I've been doing it really well. So I really, really enjoyed that whole aspect of the drama because it gives you a whole new light that isn't typically shown in these dramas. The male lead tends to be the CEO, the one with influential, and he tends to have other problems, not family related problems, but other problems in terms of why he can't run a company. So I really, really enjoyed that whole aspect of it. They kind of throw you for a loop because Yes, there is a breakup, but I kind of like the breakup, which is rare. I actually enjoyed the breakup, not necessarily the reasons for it, but I did enjoy the breakup scene and why it kind of needed to happen because they start their relationship off on the wrong foot. First of all, it's a fake relationship, and I'm like, I'm here for it. I've already said various times in this episode, I adore contract relationships. So, yeah, I'm definitely here for it. So that was, how this drama kind of started. And there is, the breakup, and the reason why it happens, I don't necessarily enjoy. But again, I really do enjoy the fact that it does happen because it allows them to kind of reset their relationship in a sense. So yeah, I love seeing these two going from an alliance of sorts, almost a forced alliance, to then being friends to then becoming lovers. And it's the very typical, we're going to have a contract relationship and we can't fall in love. That's the, no feelings. That's the number one rule. And then obviously they always catch feelings. So yeah, that is the Chinese drama Begin Again. I highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun watching this one. And again, I really liked some of the themes that they kind of worked with in this drama. So this is a little bit longer. It's 35 episodes of 45 minutes, and it's available on Viki, Mango TV. Again, the one we never recommend, but I put it down anyways. Viki, Mango TV, iQIYI, and WeTV. So again, another one that is very widely available to everyone. I really did enjoy this one. I had a lot of fun watching it. So that is it. That is the episode. I do have another one, but I'm not sure. Like, I enjoyed it, but I don't remember that much about it. So I might just, glance at it. And that is the drama Sweet Teeth. It is, I don't know, guys. It is a bit of a hot mess as a drama, but I still liked it. It's very, like, the type of drama that you go in and you just kind of watch it to, brain completely turned off. But yeah, it is 22 episodes. It's an iQIYI Sweet On series from last year. So those are always tend to be, if you want romance, iQIYI Sweet On series tend to be really good in terms of delivering on the romance rom-com kind of dramas. So I do have some dramas that I wanted to mention that were what I think are the more recent ones and the more popular ones that I think, because they're more recent, they're more fresh in people's minds. So I'm just going to go through some of them. One of them is Romance of Tiger and Rose. You can't talk about romance / rom-com without talking about this drama. It stars Ding Yuxi and Zhao Luxi, and it is hilarious. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It's probably one of my favorite dramas where the, writer or whatever goes into their own screenplay or their own book or whatever. And I think this one's probably up there as one of my favorites for that kind of trope and genre. It's so much fun, guys. I just absolutely love this drama. So that's Romance of Tiger and Rose. These ones, I'm not really going to go into much details about them either, again, because they're fairly popular or, in general, they are, quite well-known dramas. So I just wanted to mention them. The next one is Perfect and Casual. I had a little bit, again, Wei Ziming, male lead, perfection. But I did have a little bit of difficulty with the female lead at start. I thought she's quite childish in the role, and it's not the actress herself, because I've watched her in a couple of different things and I've enjoyed her in those. But yeah, that's she eventually kind of grows up and, she grew on me, but that's the drama Perfect and Casual. Now, there is another one, The Day of Becoming You. This is a peak comedy, guys, peak comedy, and it's written by one of the writers that did Go Ahead, Meet Yourself, those types of dramas. So the dialogue is great, but yet the comedy is still very much on point. It is a body switch drama, and it stars Steven Zhang and I can't quite recall the female lead, but I can see, this is really frustrating because I can see her image in my head and I can't remember her name. Is it Lie Zhang? I can't quite remember, but This is one of those that I would absolutely recommend. It is really well written. It is very funny to watch. But even amongst all of that funniness, there's quite good conversations had, like more serious conversations. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Another one is High Venus. That one is from earlier on this year. And it's again sort of CEO doctor. She's the doctor, he's the CEO. They kind of meet and like clash straight away, but then go on a journey of falling in love, that sort of story. And then just lastly is The Love You Give Me. This is the same couple that did Once We Get Married. They've worked together before. This one has a cute kid as well in it, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So that's like my more popular choices that I love that I wanted to mention. And what I will do, I will actually, because I know sometimes you guys ask when I do these episodes that, you know, you can listen to them and then you might want to annotate one of them down, but you can't at the time. So what I will do, and if I don't, again, come shout at me in my DMs to do this. What I will do is I will copy down the names of every drama that I mentioned in this episode and put those in the description link. So, you know, in the, you know, description part of the episode. So if you guys want to check out any of these and you can't quite remember the name and you don't want to go back and like you won't be able to find it on the episode, again, if you want to, go ahead and listen to the episode more than once, but I will facilitate that by putting all of these down in the description notes, and then you guys can just go and look at that. And I think that's it. That wraps up my sort of romance rom-com episode. Who knows if we might do a second part. Again, I think if I do a second part, it'll definitely be based on, you know, Korean dramas, Japanese dramas, Thai dramas, that sort of thing, as opposed to, you know, Chinese dramas, because I've mentioned quite a few in this episode. I have enough. I could probably talk about it for a whole other hour, you know, just with Chinese dramas, but I think it'd be quite cool to do, you know, other countries as well. So if you'd like to hear that, and if it's something you think would be quite good to listen to, then vote in the Spotify poll. And I think that's it. Again, I hope you guys are having a lovely week in your corner of the world, and everything is, you know, going as best as it can be. Wrap up, guys, because, you know, at least in my corner, it's cold. Oh, I tell you what, just a little story to finish up the episode today. Again, like I mentioned, I've just come back from being home, and back home in Portugal, where I'm from, it's like a good 22, 23 degrees, which is quite nice. You know, for this time of year, that's quite nice weather. It's not hot, but it's still warm enough that you can get away with having like a t-shirt and a little jacket and you're okay. Now, I came back, and the first day I got back to England, it was pouring down. It was chucking it down with rain, and it was like 4 degrees, and I'm just thinking, oh no, like here we go again. I really don't enjoy winter at all, especially because in the UK we barely see the sunshine, and that is the worst part of it. Like, I don't mind the cold because it's that time of year for it, but it's the fact that it's just grey and miserable and whatnot. So a lot of you always ask, how do you watch so many dramas? You can blame and thank the English weather for it, because it's grey and miserable and I don't feel like going anywhere. So I tend to be home constantly because, you know, I get very cold. So you will find me on my couch with a hot cup of tea or coffee, you know, whichever one I fancy that day, for the entirety of the time that I don't have to be at work. So that's how I watch so many dramas. But yeah, that was my little story to wrap up the episode. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you do, let me know, and I shall see you next time. Bye.
Want to find an Asian drama community? Then join the Tea and Soju Discord server, where we chat everything from C-dramas to K-dramas to J-dramas. To chat with me, check out any of the socials. Please help the podcast by rating, viewing and subscribing wherever you listen to help others find this little corner. Lastly, consider joining Patreon to further support the podcast and receive extra content. All of the links are in the episode description. That's it. This has been another episode of the Tea and Soju C-Drama podcast. I'm your host, Liliana, and I'll see you next week for more C-Drama chatter.